Hello and welcome to the episode of the Manufacturing Leaders Podcast with me, Mark Bracknell, Managing Director of Theo James Recruitment. Today, welcome on Gavin Duffy, the CEO and founder of Zeromachine based in Blythe. I first met Gavin a few weeks ago when he won the Newcomer of the Year, the Insider Media Made Northeast Awards. So I couldn't wait to have him on the show. We talked about so much in this episode. We talked about the business, Zeromachine, and exactly what they do within the world of hydrogen. He debunked some myths around hydrogen, electric vehicles, and some common misconceptions. We got quite political at times. Gavin talked in detail about exactly what was needed from the government or vision needed to really support this industry. And what was really interesting was how excited he is about the industry, and actually he believes we are absolutely sitting on a gold mine as a nation, which could massively accelerate our economy. So we talk in detail about that, but he talks so passionately about the business, about the future, about what's needed to create a business which he feels could be as big as a JCB. And I loved how passionate Gavin was and how detailed he was about this, to talk about proper British engineering and actually what that would do to Blythe, to the Northeast and the UK economy. So this is an episode that you're going to enjoy if you're a leader, you're going to enjoy if you are a business owner, a startup, and it's the real world examples of exactly what is needed and how much is needed to get businesses like this going. It was a privilege to interview Gavin because I really felt like I was interviewing someone which is on the cusp of something absolutely brilliant. And I've got no doubt I'm going to look back in 10 years' time at this podcast and go, I had that man on the podcast and look what the business has done. So please sit back and listen and enjoy the episode. Please, as ever, please subscribe and like the show. It massively helps grow the channel. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the episode. So a massive warm welcome today to Gavin Duffy, the CEO and founder of Zeromachine. How are you doing, Gavin? All right?
I'm all right. I'll correct you on one. It's Zeromachine.
Zeromachine.
No S.
Apologies. I'm presuming I'm not the first to do that.
You're not the first. You're not the first.
So, loads of things to ask you. I'm really fascinated by the business. But the first question is the same question I ask everyone that comes on, which is, what does it mean to you to be a leader?
It's an interesting question because I've never thought of myself as a leader. A technical lead, yes. But I realize now, when you start your own business, that's it. You're in that position. So there's a massive sense of responsibility. That's probably the heaviest weight on your shoulders, because the buck doesn't go anywhere by you.
Yeah.
It stops with you. And I felt this throughout my career, because you end up in this, I suppose, in a way, when I look back, I've tended to naturally take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm one of those annoying people. But I've tended to naturally take the lead. But part of it, I think a good leader is one who doesn't put themselves first. So ego, you take ego out the equation. You're there to make the decisions. But you're also there to delegate and work as part of a team, as part of a group.
Yeah.
And the best style of leadership I've ever seen was where the leadership on a particular project was actually fluid. It was whoever had the better handle on the problem we were dealing with at the time. Right, you know what you're doing, you run with it.
Yeah.
And then it would swap back, and it would float between the sort of, your mechanical engineering lead, the electrical engineering lead is me, and project lead, and hydraulics guys and production guys and operational people. And it was that sort of being able to balance that and share that load. And it's very much the sharing of the load. But as a leader, it is also knowing when to take control.
Yeah.
And when to recognize, particularly with engineers, like, folks, we're starting to drift off here. And it's all very nice, but we're in danger of hitting scope creep here. Mm-hmm. And I know we can do X, Y, and Z, and that would be great, but they're going to have to wait till the next iteration. We've got a deadline to meet, and then, that's more technical leadership. I think the primary one is it means just being human.
Yeah. Yeah.
And admitting that you are fallible. Nobody knows you don't know everything. You can't be expected to. And it's allowing the people that you're leading to shine as well.
And what's interesting, actually, what you're talking about there is that collaboration piece, because that is fascinating. That because a lot of people I've spoken to, a lot of books I've read, it talks about that facilitation, that the good leaders can facilitate those environments that people are in a flow state, and they're trusted to have a voice. And I think that's a real skills leader, isn't it? That to not always take over, but create an
Yeah,
environment that you can facilitate and get the best out of people, where people actually feel comfortable that they can challenge and suggest.
very much so. So it's part of the thing. I think the other thing about leadership is you've got to have a very strong vision. They don't build statues to committees.
Yeah.
Is that old chestnut of a saying. You've got to have a very clear vision, but you've got to allow yourself to be challenged on that vision. And I mean, I've seen myself absolutely locked in on a problem and going, yeah, we're going down this route. And you've had people saying, I don't agree with this, I don't like. If you can actually, and what I found was, if you could present a logical, coherent argument, then what people actually would see is me pivot mid-track, literally go, right, okay, that makes far more sense.
Mhm.
Spend about maybe 10, 15 minutes just thinking it through and then go, yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Not a complete pivot, but
Yeah.
all right, okay, yeah, I recognize now we were heading down a dead end with that. We're just going to backtrack and we're going to go down here
Mhm.
because this is more viable. This is more commercially viable. This gets us to, because I think a lot of, especially R&D engineers, forget that there is a commercial aim at the end of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again also links perfectly into that humility approach, because
Yeah,
not every leader is comfortable with going, oh, I'm wrong here, or this, right, let's pivot into this.
yeah,
That in itself is a real skill. Me and my wife watched The Apprentice, and I know a lot of it's edited for entertainment, but you see those really poor project managers every week, the ones that just take control and their idea is the idea, and they don't listen to anyone. And it's
yeah.
interesting seeing that sometimes.
Yeah, it's I think leadership is you're running a democracy within a benevolent dictatorship.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
In essence,
Yeah,
it's because at the end of the day, you've got to take the decision. You know,
yeah,
um, it's a challenge, but I think you've also got to. So you've also got to be prepared to A, be humble, but B, admit when you don't know something.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
nobody else knows something, then the buck comes back to you,
Mhm.
and it is right. I'll go away and find out about this. I'll do this. If
Yeah.
nobody else has a better angle on this, it's then the buck stops with you.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Because again, there is one thing having the skill set to facilitate the environment for people's suggestions, but as a leader, you've ultimately got to come to a conclusion where that's one person's answer or a collaborative view. You've got to be the one to make a decision, and that is a skill that not every good facilitator have. And
Yeah.
it just shows how challenging leadership can be, but actually how why right leaders love it, because obviously you've got to wear so many hats. How have you found being a leader of you and not having someone to lead? Because I struggle with that when I first started the business. I struggle with not having a manager. I like that accountability. It's how have you found that?
Challenging because I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't employ me for
Most entrepreneurs are unemployable, to be fair. So yeah,
yeah, it's you're dealing with a load of with a lot of challenges.
yeah,
You've got that personal challenge, you've got the financial challenge, you have got and I think what people forget a lot is that personal sort of assault on you, on
Yeah.
your mental health,
Hmm.
on and I mean, there's days when you're just not motivated. You are just, you're looking at the bank balance and you're just face palming and going, how the hell do I get out of this? And what nobody explains is that that potentially can go on for a week or so. That can go on,
Yeah.
and when you're on your own, you don't have that you've got to literally, right, okay, we'll reset, we'll go back in. But it's not having that person apart from, my partner to bounce that off.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my close friends, um, I mean, they think I'm on planet Zanussi. I'm I'm on a different
If it
world.
was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah. Um, and the other one is also throttling yourself back, because I can have extremely creative moments where there's innovation after innovation after innovation. Oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do boom, 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 boom. And it's like, no, no, no. Concentrate on this. What is going to get revenue in the door now,
Yeah.
or as soon as possible,
Hmm.
rather than sort of extending the timeline. And it's things like when you're doing the financial modeling, the business plan for the umpteenth iteration, because these are all living documents, so to speak. And you're kind of going, rolling your eyes, and you're going, oh, here we go again. And I mean, sometimes your financial model, your business plan it's an evolution. And then other times you suddenly realize, no, this is a complete rewrite, because what I've done to get to revenue
Yeah.
earlier is, we've now told, for an example, we've actually recently discovered that we have a near-term product
Right.
available.
Hmm.
And I think hanging on to it for IP's protection state and keeping it as a secret source. No, actually, what we're dealing with is a fairly dumb box, but it allows us to sandbox the business. It allows us to potentially bring people in earlier than we were thinking of doing. It's more attractive to investment because we're in revenue, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're building telehandlers,
Hmm.
and you don't exactly build one of them in the spare bedroom. And I mean, I've looked at I look at the guys who are, the lads and lasses who are doing digital, who are working with software, or are working with small handheld devices or whatever, and it's just, I wish, because they,
You can say it'd probably be good actually. Sorry, interrupt. So it give you an opportunity for people who don't know to tell actually tell people about Zero Machine. So just to rewind, I guess, a little bit. So I first obviously came across you and Zero Machine after, so we sponsored the Made Northeast Awards, that Insider Media put on, and obviously you won the Newcomer of the Year, which was an amazing award to win. Actually, it's the first
yeah,
time I've done that award. It's a great award because it gives people like yourself a platform. Because exactly what you're talking about there, you're talking about investment, you're talking about, and this is what the economy needs. It needs eyes on companies like you to be able to flourish, because it's not bloody easy out there. So I loved it when I saw that award. It was great, and I also loved how passionate and pleased, and you just seem shocked and so humble to win that award. And so tell us a little bit about A, what it was like winning that, and B, a little bit about the business, Gavin, so for people who don't know, if that's all right.
yes, certainly. Um, so the award, I was absolutely gobsmacked, because I mean, I'm when you're a newcomer, you're kind of in the same ecosystem as the other nominees
Yeah.
in that category. So I know Stephen Mitchell
Hmm.
from SQCDP.
Yeah.
I know him very well because he's come through the Royal Academy of Engineering's Regional Talent Engine program, same as me. He was the
Yeah,
cohort before
great
me,
guy, great guy.
which is a fantastic accelerator program
Mm.
to come through. And I vaguely know Joanne as well. And I thought, yeah, I'm just turning up here just for the free meal. And I was genuinely absolutely gobsmacked. The table I was sat at, I'm trying to think of his name, Colin from Springwell Northeast. Um, he was sat, and I was just videoing it, and literally the phone got slung to him. But yeah, I was genuinely shocked, and it's made a big difference. And more importantly, you suddenly realize, crikey, I'm going on to represent the Northeast at the national awards, and that's a lot of weight on your shoulders there.
Yeah, what an honor.
It is. But anyway, so yeah, the award was interesting. The come down was getting back on the train back to Blythe dressed in a kilt.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, actually, when I said to the team, if I've got a podcast at 3, it's who is in? I said, oh, it's well, Gavin Duffy from Zeromachine. Oh, is that the guy in the kilt won the award? Is he? Yeah, that's him. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
but
does
memorable.
stand out a
Yeah,
bit because I know I don't sound it. Occasionally comes through. It actually depends on, shall we say, how much alcohol I have.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. But yeah, so Zero Machine is in a nutshell is I've worked in automotive 30 odd years
Yep.
as an electrical engineer, on or off. There's been forays into industrial engineering and building automation. I've always been a petrol head at heart anyway. So started off in road rallying, moved into stage rallying, and I'm stage safety officer on Keeler Forest Rally this weekend.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So still active in the sport. But my love was always cars, tinkering, pulling stuff apart, putting it back together again. I ended up in electrical engineering, went through predominantly in automotive. Always tended to be the most glamorous I got was a designed a fuse box for TVR. And that was as close as I got to anything glamorous.
Yeah, amazing.
Everything has always been trucks, buses, construction vehicles, and agriculture. Nothing too glamorous, but it's a real niche of a business. Now, around about 4 or 5 years ago, I was heading up Snorkel's electrification program.
Mm.
So this is Snorkel in Washington. Washington, Sunderland, not Washington. They are a multinational, so when I
Yes.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's our
It's worth
Washington,
mentioning.
not
Yeah,
there. It's
yeah,
the first one.
yeah.
There. And I came in sort of relatively late in the program. They got the prototype developed, and sort of inherited and productionized that.
Mhm.
And as always with any sort of new product, there's a few teething troubles, but I then took that through and I thought there's always got to be a bit more. There's always got to be, are we going about this the right way? And by one way or another, we hit a machine that weighed 7.5 tons. So we got bigger and bigger and bigger as we moved down the model ranges. These are the big all-wheel drive mobile scissor lifts and mobile elevating work platforms. This was our first articulated boom. And we had a bit of trouble pushing that through. Not on the electrical side, it was the mechanical side. It was the hydraulic side. And I thought there's got to be a more efficient way of doing this. Now we got that product over the finish line in the end. And it's one I'm really proud of because that was actually I suppose my COVID baby as well. But I realized then I thought 7.5 tons is about the limit for batteries to give it a useful service, to give it an 8-hour working shift for an 8-hour. And I started thinking on that, and I started to sort of do a bit of research into this, and then came up with the idea of hydrogen fuel cell. These are now available, which was a bit of a revelation to me. You get kind of one tracked into your own little world, and you go, hydrogen fuel cell. Wow, they're available off the shelf. Suggested it. You can imagine how well that went down with management. You know, we were then 2 3 years or 2 years into a battery electrification
Yeah.
program, and it appeared that I was going, right, we need to do this now with totally unknown technology that most people is space age.
Yeah.
And a brief thing of what a hydrogen fuel cell is: you take hydrogen in, it chucks out water, you combine it with air, but you get four spare electrons roughly. It generates electricity.
Okay.
So you end up with a machine that actually refuels like a diesel, 15 minutes from gaseous hydrogen, generates its own electricity. It's an EV. It's an evolution of an EV.
Interesting.
And I'd looked at, sort of how do we get this? Do I just design the system or not? And I started to look at telehandlers, and I realized nobody's really electrifying a telehandler. What electric telehandlers are out there are small,
Yeah.
tend to be slow.
I was going to say, because
Telehandler,
I imagine the weight of it is the issue.
it's not so much the weight, it's the duty cycle.
Okay. Yeah.
So weight in anything that lifts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're lifting a man, if you're lifting loads, weight is actually not a bad thing.
Okay.
Your center of gravity, lower center of gravity, you're stable.
Yep.
And it was I sort of realized nobody electrifies them because their duty cycle. Telehandlers on a building site or on a farm tend to have two speeds. It's either flat out,
Yep,
or they're stationary, which is really hard to electrify. So I do like a challenge. And as I started to cogitate that, and the idea came into fruition, and the tech kind of really started to coalesce in my mind. I left Snorkel. I was working for a Dutch subsidiary of a UK company, heading up their off-road, their 4x4 electrification program. It was a scale up. Things weren't going well, but little things like not paying you and things like this. But I had big boy pants on. You go into a scale up, you know that things could be a bit sketchy. And then threats of redundancy start to come about. They were laying people off, and that was when I saw the Royal Academy of Engineering's Regional Talent Engine program came up on LinkedIn. So I applied, and that really focused my thinking to think of it as a business rather than a technical thing. And I got on it, which, I mean, a slim to remote chance of getting onto this program, and I got there.
Amazing.
And it really has opened doors for me. And it focuses your thinking on the business. You have to think. I mean, the biggest problem I've now got is I'm seeing the technical side of my role get further and further out of reach, and realizing that I now have to be a leader.
Yeah.
Yes, I have the overall technical vision, but it's probably not going to be me who delivers that. It is going to be a member of my team
to
interpret my vision.
And you've had to obviously pivot into that, because that's it. You start the business because you had the idea and you want to carry it through. But like you say, it's the running the business part which unfortunately takes up the bulk of anyone's time, doesn't it? And it's that's what keeps the lights on. Something as that.
It is. I mean, I've never thought of myself as a salesperson, but people have said I could sell coals to Newcastle when I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I actually value that in a salesperson. A salesperson, a good salesperson, can do the classic Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen.
Yeah, but people don't. I don't think people resonate with that anymore. It's building relationships. It's what we talked about before. It's being human. It's being authentic.
Yes, and I think customers actually warm to technical salespeople than they do to out and out salespeople.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, a sales professional is a different kettle of fish entirely. They know their job backwards. They're people. and that's the difference. But yeah, it's being a founder and a CEO is a selling job
Yeah.
all the time. You
Yeah.
know this.
Yeah. It is, and I guess that. But it sounds like you've embraced that as well, which is important. What's been the what shocked you about startup life? What's the things that has surprised you? What do you say?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. um,
Has it been as challenging as you thought it would be?
I was very naive when I went in.
Okay.
That was my issue. I thought, look at the marketplace. I will get investment on this, no bother at all. Everyone's heading in this direction
Yeah.
without researching the investment marketplace.
Hmm.
So industry is crying out for this.
Yeah.
This, you've got to push against emissions in construction. You have zero diesel sites. You look at the Lower Thames Crossing project, which I know is a bad thing for the Northeast because that was the cash from the A1 dueling. But you're looking at sort of they're putting in contract legislation. So rather than legislation, they're saying no, this project is going to be zero diesel by 2027.
Yep.
So that's forcing manufacturers to do something about it. So the industry is wanting it, but when I got in, I thought, yeah, we'll get investment on this, no bother at all, and then realised investment was not interested in heavy engineering.
Really? Because it was all software and
It's
tech.
all software and digital
Yeah.
because it's easy. Yeah, you've got massive upfront costs with software and digital,
But the multiples are massive. Yeah.
but thereafter you don't have a production line to look after.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got sort of early feedback on, oh, it'll take massive investment in plant and machinery from people who don't understand that construction machinery, actually, most construction machines you bolt together like a kit.
Hmm.
You don't make the chassis, that's made by a subcontract. The harnesses is bespoke. We're planning on producing our own harnesses in-house
Yeah.
because that's what I do. I've set up multiple harness production cells, so that's a bit of a no-brainer. But you effectively buy everything off the shelf. There was a few bits and pieces we realized we couldn't buy off the shelf because nobody made them. And you frantically go back through the research papers and the academic white papers and,
Mhm.
well, how have they done that? And you realize, they've been lab-based.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of that to it. But yeah, I was a bit naive in thinking that I would get investment like that.
Mm. Yeah.
And it hasn't happened.
Apologies for interrupting this episode with a very quick announcement about my business. Theo James are a specialist talent provider specifically to the manufacturing and engineering sector. I am incredibly proud of what we've achieved since our inception in 2015. We specialize in roles from semi-skilled trades right the way up to our TJ exec search arm of the business, both on the contract and permanent side. We offer both bespoke one-off campaigns for hard-to-fill roles or a full partnership service where we become an extension of your business. For any information, please get in touch with me or the team. I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Thank you. What do you think? And I'll put myself in this, but for people who aren't clued up with hydrogen, EV, the differences, the challenges, I guess you hear a lot of people going, hydrogen's the future, and then people go, no, electric vehicles are the future, and then people going, neither's. What is the market saying right now, and what do you think needs to happen for this to really accelerate?
So there are camps, shall we say.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, battery technology is going to improve. Oh no, hydrogen's the way. And then you get hydrogen's dead. They're closing down hydrogen filling stations left, right, and center. What I think is each technology, because hydrogen technology and battery technology are the same technology. Hydrogen is a hydrogen fuel cell machine or vehicle is simply an electric vehicle that can generate its own power. It's still an electric vehicle. It's an evolution.
Yeah.
And there seems to be this narrative that it's an either or situation. It's not. The technology, there are places where battery electric works brilliantly. Last mile delivery, passenger carrying transport, passenger cars. That tech is well there. Where battery fails is in heavy duty kit.
Okay.
Now they're getting there with large goods vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
but you require hydrogen infrastructure. We are 10, 15 years away from seeing hydrogen at a filling station. That's not going to happen. However, the logistics for hydrogen in construction, and particularly large goods vehicles, where you're going depot to depot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say DHL, you've got a trunker, I think they call them, coming up from the Leeds depot up to the Newcastle depot overnight. You can put in a hydrogen filling station, fueling station at both depots. You've got the benefit then.
Okay.
You've got that range extension. So what I see it as, it's going to be the correct technology for the application.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's not an either or. It's far more nuanced than that. And anyone who thinks in the either or technologies, it's not black and white. It is, each technology complements each other.
Mm-hmm.
A huge improvement in battery chemistry and battery technology benefits hydrogen fuel cell as well, because we still need a battery in there. Not
Yeah.
as big, but we
Mm-hmm.
need batteries in
Okay.
there.
Interesting. Interesting. What do you think needs to happen for it to get to where it needs to be? Because I guess there's the cans got kicked down the road a little bit by years that need to be X, Y, and Z, and there's obviously infrastructure problems. I've had an electric vehicle for 5 years, and I can already see a huge difference between the type of chargers on available, amount of people now who are charging. So I can see there's definitely been an uptake, but we're also told nowhere near the level we need. So what do you think needs to happen for that to happen?
So it's going to take massive investment, and it's going to take a massive vision. I think our political system, where we're electing people every 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fundamental issue. This needs to be taken out of the hands of politicians in a lot of ways. We are sitting now, this is where we come into the whole renewables argument here, or not argument. We are sitting on the biggest pot of wealth this country has ever seen. This is going to dwarf North Sea oil. And we blew our chance with North Sea oil. The Norwegians created a sovereign wealth fund, and they controlled it. And that's why Norway is sat now, not laughing, or laughing, going,
Yeah.
yeah. And we should have done that with North Sea oil. But our North Sea oil experience and technology and that knowledge base we have in suits offshore renewable wind
Yeah.
perfectly. Offshore renewable wind energy is what you use to generate green hydrogen, because obviously the wind blows most of the time. We're sat on this damp little rock off the west coast of Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Stuck halfway out into the Atlantic. We've got to have something going for us,
Mm-hmm.
and it's wind and it's tidal, and
Yeah.
that's the key. And I think we need a massive investment, which is starting to happen now. I think government is starting to wake up, going, we're sat on a huge. We could become a net energy exporter, to the continent. We're putting the infrastructure in, but we need to have that vision of saying, right, this is not what we're going to do over 4 years. Rather than setting targets,
Yeah.
as in you've got to get to net zero, 75% reduction in diesel use by 2035, and we're going to be all net zero by 2050. No, we've got to set reliable targets. We've got to go, right, we need to invest in the infrastructure. And we need to be able, but the government goes, well, what's in it for us? Well, if you actually say tax at 1 or 2% of the output, there's our sovereign wealth fund there.
Interesting.
That funds the NHS, that funds further infrastructure, that funds education, it funds a whole come up. It's a big vision, I know, but I think
you're
we
right,
need
isn't
to
it?
have that.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Because it's not because it's a long term view, and they are looking at a short sighted to get elected and to be re-elected 4 years. They're not. That's not on the agenda. But you're absolutely right, and there's no difference, is there, to a business which has a new ownership every 4 years. The vision changes, and the vision changes, and nothing actually progresses. It's exactly the same with this, isn't it? And it's just what can we say to get elected, and then they don't actually nothing really get moves on, and that
Yeah.
I'd be I'm not confident that's going to change anytime soon. That's the real concern.
I think what we're seeing pressure from industry.
Yeah.
I think particularly with the current geopolitical situation,
Hmm.
and that's all I'm going to comment on that. I mean, that's also helped generating interest. Suddenly everyone's got, oh, alternative fuels.
Yeah. 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 Hmm.
But I think the pressure is now coming from industry and commerce going, we are too reliant on hydrocarbon technology.
Yeah.
We need to move away from that and we need to get into renewables because we have some of the we do have the highest energy costs in Europe
Yep.
for
Hmm.
business.
Hmm. Yeah, which is why it's so difficult for manufacturing to survive.
Yeah. And this is we've got to have that investment, and that investment, that vision, it's I think this isn't going to be chuck a huge pot of money at it and this
Hmm.
will solve it.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be structured little small pots, and I think this is what we're seeing. We're starting to see this kind of this. Everyone's going right. If the government's not going to do it, stuff it. We'll do it ourselves. And it gets to a point where the clamour from industry and from private individuals starts to grow, and the government goes, right, we're going to have to do something about that.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I do think that some parts of the energy sector could do with being privatized and taken back under state control to get this infrastructure through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not looking at anyone in particular national grid, because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
don't know. I don't have the answers.
no, but I agree. But it's something needs to be done. But it's actually very exciting to hear someone like you say that the opportunity is there, which is great, and that it's not only for the region, like you say, but for the UK. How I love hearing you talk about the business and talk about how passionate you are about it. How big do you think? How big do you want your business to get out of interest? What's the vision there?
I would like to see it as another JCB eventually.
Yeah, good for you.
I it's not going to get there in my lifetime. Not a chance. I do acknowledge the fact that I am a bit of an elder statesman now. And I don't want to be doing this in 10 years. In 10 years' time, I want to be taking a step back, maybe going up to chairman,
Yeah, yeah.
appearing once a week,
Hmm.
wandering around the factory, upsetting people, walking out.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
privilege that comes
yeah.
with that position. Um, but I think there's an opportunity, and we've got to look inward as a country. I think we've got to look towards our own manufacturing communities. And I
Hmm.
think this is one of the things we've got in the Northeast
Yep.
is we are slowly but surely starting to develop a very, very coherent community. We're nowhere near where it should be, but you're starting to see the seeds growing of, and this comes back to if you're building a sustainable business, the key point is sustainable supply chain.
Yeah.
So that means going local first, then regional, then national. And if you don't have any choice, I mean, for certain stuff, I'm going to have to go international for that. But there's no reason why I can't use British steel in my product.
Hmm.
I mean, people argue, oh, British steel, it'll cost a fortune. Yeah. Have you seen the price of a hydrogen fuel cell? The cost in comparison,
Yeah.
the cost difference, it's not going to make any difference. But that starts to set the, if everyone used a little bit of British steel, say, in their engineering projects, that would have a huge difference to our steel industry. It starts to, and it allows the prices to drop, and it's that chicken and egg. You're in that catch-22 situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's certainly, you know, it's that concept of starting to build a community and sustainable businesses. I mean, I don't see us as a direct challenger to JCB, because what we did, JCB are going down, for those who don't know, JCB have gone down partially down the electric route, but they're now fully focused on hydrogen internal combustion engines.
Okay.
And I totally get that. I actually, admire them for that, because I'm going space age in a way. They're going far more familiar. It's an internal combustion engine. It knows how it works. Everyone knows how that works. The tech's familiar. The fueling is slightly different. But actually, when you look at the fueling on a construction site or a farm, you don't take a 30-ton 360 tracked excavator down to Tesco's to fill it up. The fuel comes to you. It's on site. And that's the same. The logistics chain works for hydrogen, which is why in the same way hydrogen doesn't work for passenger cars, because it's not there yet. It works for construction. And I can firmly see the non-road mobile machinery market actually pioneering greater hydrogen use, whether it be as internal combustion or fuel cell. Both technologies, I mean, I would say mine's better, but I can see where they're going with that. So, but we're going a sort of step beyond that electrification generation. We're looking to get rid of the hydraulics as well in our technology and move to linear actuators and electro-hydraulic actuators, because we're getting rid. It's not just stop the oil. It's where we realized is actually, as a business, we're going down the line of, the green technology and the hydrogen tech is great, but actually the key point is the bottom line. Once you remove an internal combustion engine, a gearbox, a hydraulic system, what is there left to maintain and service? And you suddenly realize that your opportunity here is not, it's green technology. Yeah, that's great. Don't get me wrong on that. It's sustainable, but actually it's the total cost of ownership. These are cheaper to own than a diesel in the longer term. Now, if you build them properly, and this is the key, if you build them properly, and it takes a bit more time going down the production line, but you build them to be repairable in the field, serviceable, robust. You build them like a tank.
Okay. Yeah. Which is ultimately that is what's needed, because everyone, it's always down to the bottom line, how much it will cost people. Yeah. So it'll be, if that, once that hopefully is proven, then like you say, there's your gold mine.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
And I mean, we're really looking at slow, sustainable growth.
Yeah.
This is a long-term project. We're looking at probably 4 years before we're into production.
Yeah.
Because there is a research, program to follow.
Of course.
And a product development program to follow. But we're not looking to build huge numbers at first. 10 years time, if we're producing 1,000 machines a year,
okay,
that's brilliant for us.
Yeah,
that's excellent. And they're going to be very neat, because because we're not jumping to sort of generation 2.0. We're trying to get to 2.5 in one leap, because we need that differentiator, because we're playing against the JCBs, the Manitous, the Merlots of this world. But the idea behind the business as well is we're not looking to keep this tech proprietorial to ourselves.
Okay.
It's very much, my thinking was, right, we've got to prove this in the harshest environment possible, which is a telehandler. But it's scalable, and it will diffuse over other machinery. And once we get this technology perfected and working and proven, we may as well keep building the telehandlers.
Yep.
Because that's our bread and butter. but there's no reason why we can't share this technology and partner with other companies who are saying, well, actually, we quite like what you've done. Can we have a part of that?
Yeah.
We're not going to say, oh, no, we've got exclusive rights to that. Because I think when you're dealing with fundamental technology shifts, it's key to actually share that tech and diffuse it out. Now, I don't mean giving away IP either here. There's, we've got our secret sauce as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I find it's all very fascinating. And then, so my final question would be for you, which I think would be an interesting one. What would be the perfect next 12 months for you? If you could wave a magic wand, what would it be for the next 12 months look like for Zero Machine?
So, ideal plan is we get our near-term product. So this fell out of the telehandler program. And I was mentioning get bits off the shelf.
Yeah.
Well, this was one of the bits that nobody made on the shelf. And this opportunity presented us. We got given a bit of technology and we took one look at it and went, yeah, that's exactly what we need. I'm saying given, it wasn't quite given, but it was there's going to be royalties involved. But nobody else is taking this to market. And we looked at what else was in the market and went, this suits us brilliantly.
Yep.
It's a high voltage junction box. And we realized we can get, this is a near-term product. We can launch this now because yes, while it works brilliantly for off-road use and off-highway use, it'll work in EVs as well.
Okay.
So that gives us that near-term, and it's not quite half the size, but it's a lot smaller and it's a lot more powerful than what's currently on the market.
Yep.
So that gives us a near-term product. So the next 6 months, we'd like to see that investment in, so seed investment. So we are looking for investment. Looking for around, so our seed round, we're looking for 350,000.
Yep.
And I think, I think the way we're going with that. I mean, overall, the investment's going to required is current financial models showing about 4.5 million at the minute.
Okay.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
That's before. Yeah. But near-term revenue product, that gets me out of the home office.
Yeah.
That gets somebody employed by the company, because this is part of the thing. This is a vision for Blythe as well.
Yeah.
This is about creating jobs.
Brilliant.
Because the beautiful thing about construction machinery is they're very hard to automate their manufacture.
Yep. So always great.
And this was the pushback against early sort of investment inquiries. It'll take huge amount of investment in plant and machinery. Actually, you need a big shed and some lads and lasses who are handy with a box of spanners.
Yeah.
You can build it.
Proper engineering. Yeah.
And that ties back into sort of the opportunities available within Blythe. But so it's getting that seed investment, because literally, and then getting product to market within 12 months. And I think we can do that. That's moving through getting this product prototyped. The design's finished. It's actually getting it built, getting it tested and approved, and proving that it does what it says for us.
Yep.
What it's going to do. And I think if we can achieve at the end of 12 months, if we can achieve 1 or 2 sold, that's success. I mean, literally, as soon as we get the sort of the seed round, that's me then into a frantic 3 months of getting the business actually up and running properly.
Yeah, it's go time. Yeah.
And then that's me back into chasing investment again, because that's what my next 5 years are going to be, is chasing investment, keeping investors happy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love it if somebody just came to me, opened the checkbook up and started writing zeros. Yep. But I think in a way that would be bad for us. We do not need that. In a way, and I think because what we need is that slow, sustained growth.
Yeah.
And this is key for heavy engineering and deep tech businesses like ours. It's, you almost feel your way into the market. And I
Yeah.
think that's critical for a sustainable growth. I mean, what I would love to see the company become long after I've sort of gone, I will have gone, is to be like a JCB, to be like a Rolls Royce, to be that um, almost, it's almost a Victorian vision,
Yeah. Yeah. But if everything goes
which
back to
is
proper engineering, British engineering,
proper British engineering.
yeah.
And if nobody makes it or nobody makes it the way you want it to, you just go, stuff it, we'll make it ourselves.
Yeah. Hmm.
But the key to it is looking after your people as well. And that's always been critical to me. I want to create a company where I want to work.
Yes.
So I know everyone says get rid of corporatism, and it's very easy to say, but it's very hard to do in reality. But this is part of what I think you've got to have that vision, and you've
Mhm.
got to share that vision with people. And if
Yeah.
they buy in, so it's work stops when the clock stops.
Yep.
Literally, right, that's it. Go.
Go your
No
families.
overtime. You
Yep.
pay people a proper wage.
Hmm.
And these are time and time again, this has been proven, yes, we're going to need to employ more people if we move to a 4-day working week. You're going to need a few more staff to give you the coverage.
Hmm.
And you run that 4-day working week and you run flexi time from the top of the company to the bottom of the company. Doesn't matter
Yep.
where you are in the company. I've heard the argument put across that, oh, we can't give flexi time or working from home because we'd have to give that to the shop floor.
See what you
My
mean.
my
Yeah.
question was, well, why not give it to the shop
Yeah.
floor?
Yeah. 100%.
You
Yeah.
know, because if you've got a workforce whose morale is high, boom, your
We
productivity and quality is through the roof. And
we've run a 4-day week now for 2 years now. Productivity is so much better than it used to be.
yeah,
It is.
and you have that, and you do away with you have that honest. It's about having an honest conversation with your employees
Hmm.
and recognizing that actually this is a mercenary relationship.
Yeah.
You sell us your time, we pay you the money.
Hmm.
And it's acknowledging that. And what always tends to put me off in companies when they say, "Oh, we're like one big family." No, that just means you're underpaid and abused.
Yeah.
I'm not quite. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah.
but that infers that there's something more. And literally, to me, you should leave work at work.
Yeah. I agree.
And
Always.
it's very difficult for me to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
It's different if you own
yourself,
it.
Mark, as
Yeah,
well.
it is different. I don't work the 4-day week, but I love the fact my team do. Like I love it. It feels like I'm really proud of it
Yeah,
because they go home happy, and I think yeah, it is. So I agree. It is different if you're on the business. That's just it is what it is.
it is. I think if you're senior leadership, if you're C-suite, maybe one level below C-suite, it's that thing of yeah, it's trickier to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, the one that always cracks me up is the number of businesses after Newcastle won the Carabao Cup on the Sunday. The number of businesses that were going on the Monday morning going, we've got no workforce.
Yeah,
And
we
it
had a
was
few
like,
holding requests.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Being able to do that and just say, you know what?
Yeah.
Nobody,
Yeah.
don't bother coming in tomorrow because
Mhm.
we know what state you're going to be in if you've got that event. But it's that ability to just and also reward those people and invest in your staff as well. So be that their education, because literally when you're building a construction machine, when you're in heavy engineering, you can literally take a ladder or lass off the street and say, screw up that bolt.
Yeah.
Show them how to. They've got a job. Now, if they show promise, you can educate them. And I mean, now in Blyth, we've seen this, we've already had investment in sort of levels 1 to 3 with the Energy Central campus. The go-ahead's been given for levels 4 to 8, up to PhD.
Right.
Blyth having a university. Wow.
Hmm.
But that's the vision, and that's taken a long-term vision. You've got to, that's what happens when I think local politics and local vision takes its hand, and you invest in that staff as well. You invest them, but you will get people on who just want to turn up, do the job, go home.
Yeah.
And what it's always struck me is those people are never recognized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could have Sid, he's been here 20 years. So why not pay him more money?
Yeah. Just because he's not moaning about it. Mm-hmm.
Why don't you recognize him? And all you need to do is put the word senior in front of his title, senior manufacturing operative. You don't give him any more responsibility because, and naturally, as somebody with that much experience in the business, people are going to defer to him anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's not having to manage a team. He's not given, he's just, and it's seen as a reward. I mean, I like very flat management structures, but that doesn't mean the underlying hierarchical structure and the pay structure cannot be very, there's a progressive route. It's tricky to pull off, I know, but I think it all comes back down to leadership style.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Well, look, Gavin, it's been a real privilege, this actually, and I mean that because you've communicated the passion and the vision of the business so well, and you will also have educated a lot of people, including myself, about the topic, which is important. This stuff needs to be educated on, but I just feel, I'm not just saying this, I feel like I'm talking to someone who has just got a really exciting future of the business ahead of him, and the way you talk about the culture of the business and how important it is to the local community of Blythe, and anything which goes back to proper British engineering as well should be celebrated. It's as simple as that, and it isn't enough, and it absolutely should be. So I can't wait for 10 years time to look back and go, bloody hell, I had that Gavin Duffy on a podcast. We talked about it, and that's how I feel. So I want to thank you massively, mate, for coming on, and I really, really hope and expect you will, but I really hope you get the investment you need to do what you need to do, because it's important. What is the best way for people to contact you? LinkedIn, email? What's the easiest?
So LinkedIn and website.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a big. I've just usual one. Had to totally rehash my own website.
Yep.
Because that's the other thing about being, as a founder, you do everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank the Lord for AI. We're best pals. So through our website, www.zeromachine.co.uk or just zeromachine.co.uk, LinkedIn, find us, Google us. We are appearing now.
Yeah.
I think I got the search engine optimization right.
Well, yeah, I wish I'd known about it, SEO when I started my business and call it Theo James, which is a famous actor. You live and learn, don't you? So we don't appear on the first page because of him, but there you go. But look, thank you, Gavin, so much, mate. I really appreciate it, and obviously well done on that well-deserved award as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark, for having me. I'm humbled and I'm honoured.
Thank you, mate. Thank you so much for listening or watching this episode of the Manufacturing Leaders podcast. Please just like or subscribe. It really helps grow the show and obviously improve the industry. If you want any more information about Theo James, as I mentioned midway through the episode, please get in touch with me or the team. I would love to talk about how we can help you directly or your business. We are more than just a recruiter, and I know people say that, but it's something I'm incredibly passionate about. We are in business for much more than just a bums on seats approach. We want to help people grow. We want to help improve their lives. And ultimately, I want to work with businesses and people who share the same values as we do. And that's something I'm incredibly passionate about. So please, if that is you and you are passionate about that dream role or passionate about your people, please get in touch with me or the team. I would absolutely love to talk a bit more detail. Thank you very much. Speak soon.